Donald Trump and his Department of Justice is on an epic losing streak. They just tried to fire without cause a Federal Trade Commission member named Rebecca Slaughter, and she was already reinstated into her position by the D.C. Court of Appeals, who looked at the United States Supreme Court, their bosses, and says, we're not going to do your job for you. You do your job. We have 95-year-old precedent, Supreme Court precedent that used to matter on the books that says Trump can't fire an FTC commissioner without cause. You want to change that? You change the law. It's interesting, an interesting approach by a lower appellate court. We cover it all on Legal AF, the podcast, and here's a clip. So Federal Trade Commission, interesting one, right, Karen? We've talked for a long time, more than I ever thought I would have to, about a 1935 case called Humphrey's Executor. I've been doing videos on Humphrey's Executor, I feel like since 1935, which stands for the proposition, or stood for the proposition, that at least when it comes to the Federal Trade Commission, and I think the Federal Reserve also, Donald Trump can't fire commissioners created in a structure created by Congress without a for-cause reason. He can't just fire them. And even the for-cause has to be a limited for-cause. It has to be like something they did on the job or not did on the job. And Donald Trump, that stands in contrast to things like the National Labor Relations Board and the Office of Special Counsel and the Merit Systems Protection Board and other agencies where the Supreme Court said, yeah, Humphrey's Executor doesn't apply because they set up a scale. The more an agency or a commission exerts presidential executive power, the less the Congress can control what the president does with the people's employment on those commissions or agencies. So that if they exert a lot of executive power, you can't limit the president's ability to fire them in any way. If they exert a little and not as much, so it's at scale, then a president has to abide by what Congress wants, which is a for-cause termination. That came up in a case from 1935 involving a commissioner of the Federal Trade Commission. I mean, Humphreys was a commissioner of the Federal Trade Commission. Rebecca Slaughter, who's fighting for her job now and just got reinstated, is a commissioner of the Federal Trade Commission. And what the argument for the Trump administration is that the Federal Trade Commission today is so powerful and so different than in 1935 that it now is using up more and expending more executive power, and therefore Trump should be able to fire at will. The counter argument to that is the Federal Trade Commission has been doing the same thing one way or the other for like the last 95 years, and certainly for the last 20 years. And every time the Supreme Court touches Humphrey's Executor, they leave it standing, and they know what the Federal Trade Commission is today versus then. So they obviously agree. But here's how the three judges, or two of the three judges on the DC panel, Millett, Pillard, and in dissent, Rayo, the Trumper. Here, the 2-1 decision, which was powerful for me because there was a line on it where they effectively challenged the United States Supreme Court in a couple of different ways. They said, first of all, Humphrey's Executor is exactly Rebecca Slaughter. In this case, is on all fours, as we say in the law. It's directly on point. It's the same agency and the same position. So you've told us, this is my artist rendering of their decision. You've told us that we, as appellate court judges and district court judges below you, Supreme Court, cannot avoid the application of precedent. We can't change precedent at the Supreme Court level. Only the Supreme Court level can do that. Okay, Humphrey's Executor is still on the books. You did not remove it. You did not take it away as it relates to the Federal Trade Commission. So it is the extant precedent that we need to apply. You've told us that. The fact that you've chipped away in various emergency shadow dockets, back to that shadow docket that you referenced before, Karen, at things like the National Labor Relations Board and the Merit Systems Protection Board, allowing Donald Trump to fire. Those were on procedural, non-substantive grounds, and you haven't reversed Humphrey's Executor. We are not going to do your job for you. I mean, that's barely a paraphrase. You, Supreme Court, if you don't like Humphrey's Executor and its application to this case, then you need to change it. But we are going to rule consistent with it that she gets her job back. How did you take the order and the ramifications of it moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a reminder that the FTC, when it was created by Congress, was supposed to be bipartisan, and it's supposed to be 5 commissioners. No more than 3 are members of the same political party. They're nominated for 7-year terms. They're supposed to be cross administrations. I mean, and that's not for all agencies, right? But there's certain agencies like the Federal Reserve that when they were established, they want it to be above politics. They want it to be putting the American people first, putting science first, putting data first, putting information first, instead of just politics and ideology. And Trump has tried to fire 2 of the Democrats. One of them decided to resign, but this one, Ms. Slaughter, decided to fight it, and she's won, at least for now. And I think it's just a good reminder of what Trump is trying to do and run roughshod over our institutions. And I'm grateful that she's fighting back, and we'll see what they say. But as you said, this notion, this doctrine of that the Humphreys executor case created so long ago is still in existence, and let the Supreme Court continue to do Trump's bidding for him if they want. But I'm happy to see that the lower courts aren't doing that.
And she got her job back. I mean, Trump doesn't like it. Oh, she's fired. She's not. She's been reinstated, and she's already posted on her own social media that she's happily back at work doing the job. And the sad part is, because he fired both the Democrats, so there was no what's the word I'm looking for? No other rationale than politics. He fired only the 2 Democrats, leaving 3 Republicans. One Democrat, he went off and got a private sector job, so he didn't fight for his job back, leaving only 1 Democrat. It's supposed to be no party having more than whatever amount of seats, but it's not supposed to be just 4 seats and 3 of them Republican. And for various very good reasons. I'm so sick and tired of the Supreme Court interfering with Congress. When Congress sets up and woe be Congress the next time they set up an agency or commission, thinking that they'll be able to control the Supreme Court in how they set their rules. I'm so tired of the Supreme Court taking out a big red pen or a blue pencil and saying, this delicately balanced commission thing, an agency thing that the Congress created as an executive agency and then turn it over to the president. Oh, now all those requirements and limitations and restrictions, we're getting rid of those. Well, maybe Congress would not have created the commission or the agency had they known that the Supreme Court was going to get rid of all of the protections that they built into it. Did anybody ever think of that? That maybe they would like to get their agency back and their commission back. And certainly, I think an argument that should have been made and could be made in the future is this is going to have a chilling effect on future Congress's willingness to set up commissions and agencies for the protection of the American people, for fear that the Supreme Court is going to rewrite the statutory scheme. I've never seen that argued. I just argued it here. I liked it.
Congress is completely, it's like a dereliction of duty. Congress does not exist anymore as a check to this president. They are not, over and over again, they're not doing their job, and they're not forcing any issues. They're just kind of like, Trump's going to get away with it, I'm going to support it. And I was reading today, there was an article, I think it was in the New York Times, where Laura Loomer, of all people, stopped Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, who's the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee. And he's the long-serving member of that panel. He was going to go visit an agency I didn't even know existed, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. And this is under the Pentagon. It's highly classified. He has oversight over this agency. And Laura Loomer got wind of it through Tulsi Gabbard. And as a result, they canceled his visit there. It was supposed to be classified. It wasn't supposed to be public. No one was supposed to know about it. But this is what they do. They go and they're supposed to have oversight. They're supposed to see what's happening. And now what they're basically saying is, gee, sorry, we're taking away the oversight capability of Congress, and we're just going to do what we want in the intelligence community. I mean, it's just bananas. And Congress just is going along with it. They're just these willing participants, and they're not doing their job. And I really hope they get smacked in the midterms, because that's outrageous. They're supposed to be separate but equal branches of government.
There's not even time to talk about other things. But the Fifth Circuit just destroyed the National Labor Relations Board coming into Labor Day, saying that its entire existence, the way it regulates workplace grievances and other attacks on employees is unconstitutional. That's the Fifth Circuit, and which will end up back at the United States Supreme Court. Welcome back. We sit at the intersection of law and politics for the last 5 years on a podcast we call Legal AF. If you didn't know why we called it that, I think now you know. Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Midas Touch Network and on audio podcast platforms of your choice. What we need is more growth, more support, more listens, more downloads. Eat more chicken. I'm suddenly doing a commercial for another franchise. In any event, if you can help us, it would help. And then you're already here on Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Take a moment and hit the subscribe button as well. Join us every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for the full-length version of the Legal AF podcast. Until my next report, I'm Michael Popak. I'm Michael Popak, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popak Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popak Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popak Firm today at 1-877-POPAK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopakfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popak Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.